now is political analyst Antonio Contreras. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Suspension of its implementing rules and regulations, but operational by the end of the year. The messaging over the past 48 hours has been differing from various officials in the Marcos administration. What is he saying about the messaging and the clarity of this law?
Well, I think you have to distinguish the law from the implementing rules and regulations. The president doesn't have the power to suspend a law because it is Congress. It is a legislator. It's a legislative piece of mandate. And so the law is there. What is just being suspended or put on hold is the implementation, the IRR. So I think we should distinguish the two. Those two are different. The law is different from the IRR.
But the president says he's finding ways to make it as close to perfect as possible. Shouldn't that have been the job of our lawmakers in making it perfect before even the president signs on the document?
Well, that is something that I'm also confused, Rico, because the IRR can only operationalize what the law contains. It could not exceed what is the content of the law. So the law will specify the parameters, while the IRR will be more of like the nitty-gritty, the fine-tuning of it. But it will not, it doesn't have, the one who formulates the IRR will not have the power to amend, modify the law, or even improve on the law. So I don't know what he meant by saying that he needs to be perfect. The IRR is derived from the law, and if the law is perfect, then the IRR is perfect. If the law is flawed, then I don't know how the IRR can make it perfect.
So with this contradicting statements coming from his executive secretary and other government officials, and his statement this morning before leaving for the Middle East, is he trying to stall? Because he says that it will be operational by year's end. Is he trying to stall that eventually that this Maharlika investment fund will not materialize?
Well, I don't think so. I don't know if the president has a power to suspend the implementation of a law that has been passed by Congress, which he did not veto. But he has some kind of authority because it is already implementing. IRR is an executive power. You are implementing the law as crafted by Congress. So now one thing that I noticed, because I look at the law itself and the IRR, it seems that the IRR is a bit shorter than the law. The way the laws have been written, the provisions are there are more words in the law than in the IRR. So probably what they can do is probably to put some, more details. But again, I heard somewhere that there are problems regarding the way the president is somewhat limited in the appointment of the regular directors and the independent directors. But the law is very clear. The advisory board the president will appoint them upon the recommendation of the advisory board. And the advisory board is a 3-person panel. And so he can only select anyone that will be nominated by or vetted by the advisory board. So that is my interpretation of the wordings of the law. So I don't think he can violate that provision by appointing someone that was not recommended by the advisory board.
So Professor, apart from the implementing rules and regulations, the appointment of key people to positions in the Maharlika Investment Fund, on the flip side, could it also be about market fundamentals? This is not the right time to launch a Maharlika Investment Fund because everything seems to go against market forces at the moment. You have the Hamas-Israel conflict. You have the Ukraine-Russia war, high inflation, interest rates. Markets are generally down. And if you put taxpayers' money at the forefront of this fund and make that investment, everything could be lost.
Well, you're partly right there, except that the taxpayer, there are sources of the funds that are not coming from taxpayers' money. They're coming from banks, Land Bank and DBP. These are not taxpayers' money. But what you have would be the one that is going to be coming from the government of the Philippines, which is, again, some of which component are coming from revenues from PAGCOR. But still, there will still be money coming from government coffers. One thing that you have to understand is that it doesn't mean, and I've been explaining it for a long, long time already, it doesn't mean that because you have the funds that you're going to invest already. The funds are there, but the decision when and where to invest, how to invest, will still be a technical issue that will have to be determined by the internal processes of the MIF in accordance with the principles that have been stated in the law. There has to be, they have to follow some conventions, some global conventions on the soundness of investments. So the issue about this is not the right time to invest. If the analysis of the technical analysis of the experts, because there are mechanisms to do that specified in the law, is that this is not the right time, then the money will not be spent. Because this is not, it will not be approved. The investment proposal will not be approved by the board. So at the very least, there will be impacts because there will be some money that will be taken out of the government coffers that can be appropriated by Congress. But that is not the entirety of the budget of the fund, because some of a big portion of the funds will be coming from sources that are not even appropriated by Congress. You know, they could not be used to finance development projects, like deposits from money from DBP and Land Bank. It cannot be a part of what the Congress can spend and allocate for confidential funds or whatever. You know. So, yun ang hindi naintindihan ng marami, na hindi naman yung entirety ng budget ang kinukuha sa taxpayers' money.
So a lot more clarification has to be done. And will the Maharlika Investment Fund indeed become a reality by year's end? Thank you so much for your insights, political analyst Antonio Contreras.